Everybody on here coming to you with this month's video, and yes, I finally made it outside to film a little bit. It is gorgeous out here in the Northeast right now. I actually have a jacket on this morning. We're starting to cool down a little bit. Some cold temps coming in right before our Indian summer, and the leaves are starting to change here, and it is incredible. So I'm up here by one of our waterfall areas. Just a great little spot to just come and listen to the wind and everything this morning. Got up here early so that there wouldn't be a whole lot of distractions up here, hopefully, while I'm doing this. Do want to let you know, for those who don't know, that the 2026 edition of the Code Journey is out, and that is available. So if you head to my website, compassioncodes.com, you'll see the tab for books, and then you can select the Code Journey. That'll get you right to the purchase links, because, you know, Amazon and some of those other sites like to sometimes really just hide me. I guess we'll just say it that way. They like to hide me. They like to make it hard. So the direct links are there. You can find it very easily on there. So I am, you know, a little bit in an interesting space, adjusting to some shifts and changes. I have some personal changes going on in my personal codes right now. That's something that I do for people, by the way, personal year reports. But this date is actually the date that Jesse left, and I came in and was on my own. So it's kind of like an entry date, some people will call it. It's a time where I really took hold. It's been 7 years now since I've been here carrying out this work, and I'm excited about that in many ways. And in many ways, it's going to give me a day to have a lot to reflect on, and that's going to be, I think, interesting and amazing to do at the same time. So this month, what I want to talk about, though, because I do need to get onto this video, is that I want to talk about how our seasons release victim patterns. And this is not a connection that we oftentimes make, but it is one just for us to be alert and aware to and to pay attention to. And we don't always think of, when we think of victim patterns, we really think of this major misery part. We really think of an aspect that is just really somebody hiding away in their home and things like that. And we don't always think that sometimes those victim patterns can have some much more subtle aspects or influences to them. So one of the things that really helps us to pull us out of victim spaces, and you know, this could just be a light little funk in our mood, to something more intense, a more aspect of more of a depression space or something like that. So there can actually be a bigger piece to it, or it can even just be feeling like the world's too heavy, feeling like there's too much going on. Feeling too weighed down or things like that. And one of the things that we need to do is to get out and give ourselves some regular little adventures. They don't have to be some big extravagant thing, but even a little bit of adventure can make a big difference for people and things. And just having a change of pace and a change of scenery. I know I hang out in my town a whole lot, but sometimes just coming up here, which isn't that far from me, and spending a few hours and just having that change of pace, that different set of people to be around, or a different setting to be around, even though it's very much similar in ways, can really refresh and renew things, really help just give me, you know, kind of a little bit of renewal to re-strengthen myself, just kind of get maybe a different perspective, clear my head a little bit. So doing that is very, very important. We need to break free of restrictions. So that's letting go of those time schedules, letting go of those things that feel confining for us. And a lot of times that is our patterns. A lot of times that is the pieces that have been set in motion, that are lots of structures in our life and guidelines in our life. And yes, it's good to have guidelines, and yes, it's good to have, you know, certain things that are on schedules and things like that, but we also want the freedom to have some leeway, some variation in that, and to be able to have that variation in that, so that breaking free of the restrictions just connects us with our soul self. And I'm going to get to how this gets to seasons, don't worry, in here. We want to question our lifestyle and our priorities. So when we get out and we make these shifts and these changes and we do different things, it starts to get us to really reflect a little bit more on what are we prioritizing? What are we making important in our life? What are we giving value to in our life? Is it things of actual real value, or is it just material things that we're giving value to? A lot of times we have a tendency to do that. When I have this, if I get that, when I get that together in my life. And it's always when, it's always a future thing as opposed to the present day thing. And so getting that reflection in there. What am I prioritizing? What do I want to prioritize in life? And how do I go about doing that? And I think that is going to be a powerful piece. And as we start to do this reflection, we start to realize what is missing, and to, appear as what are we doing to appear as accomplished or worthy in the eyes of others? And so we start to look at it and say, what is really missing from my life? Because we can't go into a victim space unless we feel like something is missing, unless we feel like there's some sort of absence, something that's not being fulfilled for us. So we really want to look at what is that piece that is missing, and where are we just doing things because we want to feel worthy in the eyes of others. We want to be accepted. We want to be acknowledged by them. We want to be seen as being accomplished by other people in there. And taking a look at that, because a lot of times those things that we're doing just to appear accomplished or worthy or things like that in other people's eyes are really not holding any value in our life, and they're really creating a lot more confinement in our life. We want to embrace the season. And when we embrace the season, it encourages us to try new things. So that kind of appeals to that adventurous spirit component, that adventurous spirit aspect. And what it does is it keeps our senses alive. It nurtures variety in our life. It gets us to experience life. And this is why, the fall is such a great time. I love it for seasonal aspects because it brings in a whole different set of flavor profiles than what we get at other times of the year. And each season has this. And what's so beautiful is whatever is growing in the season that we're in is exactly what our body needs. I know I've said that before, but it is so true. Nature has such a beautiful way of giving us exactly what we need when we need it. And it's so easy in our world when we're trying to do maybe healing for our bodies or different things like that, that we get into really super strict patterns. And there is a time and a place for that, when we're doing certain cleanses, when we've got to clear something from our body and we need to stick to something really strict, and we might have to do that for a few months. I know that in some of my healing processes where I've let go of things, whether it was sugar or caffeine or different things along the way, just to clear my body out. And that takes months sometimes to do. A lot of cleanses can be done in anywhere from a week to a month time, but it depends on what somebody's dealing with. However, that being said, we still want to work on building in as much variety in our life, in our eating patterns, in our way of thinking as possible. Because when we get too locked in that it's got to be this way, this is the right thing, everything else is wrong, we actually can create detriments for ourselves and put ourselves in more of a victim space. It's like if we never expose ourselves to germs, we actually reduce our immunity instead of building our immunity. If we only eat 3 or 4 different foods, our body doesn't know how to process anything else anymore. So even though it's wonderful to eat healthy, every once in a while we need to do a little bit of unhealthy, as they say. We need to do a little bit of something different just so our body will process things and keep having the ability to process instead of reducing its function to handle things and to deal with things. And again, so the seasons really provide this for us. They naturally shift and change to keep our body alive so that we're not always in heat or always in cold or always, in certain temperatures or certain things all the time. Nature is beautiful how it's designed to keep this variety going. And so when we have this variety, it's much harder to feel like a victim. The more variety that we can build into our life, the less we will tend to go in those victim spaces because we're not getting a sense of deprivation. And this is a beautiful and a powerful thing to embrace. So the more we can do this, the more we will stay out of those victim spaces, because we're not as controlled, because we're riding with these flows and these changes. And this, of course, naturally will synchronize us with nature's rhythms and processes, and that also helps to keep our circadian rhythm strong. It helps to keep us in these natural flows, which is naturally a divine flow, for one. It keeps us connected with our soul self. It keeps a balanced harmony between the human self and the soul self and things. And so the victim energy, again, it has a very hard time taking root where we keep a lot of variety. When we have a lot of variety in our mindset, what do? We expand our thinking, we expand possibilities, we create, again, a lot of expansion and different options, as opposed to shutting ourselves off and only looking at a couple of things. So this is a very necessary part to our well-being in body, mind, and spirit. It also keeps our emotions alive so that we don't fall into these autopilot rut spaces, which are so easy to do in our society, especially with technology, especially with all of the, different electronics and things like that, and to just go into these autopilots and these heavy workspaces. So I really encourage you, especially at this time of year when the weather is so great, to be outside, to get outside, try a new trail, try a new spot to go drive through. If you have a chance to get out and see some beautiful fall foliage, if you're up in the northern hemisphere, do it. If you have a chance to get out and see some flowers blooming in the southern hemisphere because it's springtime down there, do it. It's just such a great opportunity to get ourselves resynchronized. And the more we're synchronized in these natural rhythms and the circadian rhythms, the harder this victim energy has to take root for us, because there's always a shift. And when we're riding with these shifts and the flows, our mind, our heart, our emotions naturally knows, okay, this isn't going to last forever. It's just a season. It's just a season, and I'll get past it. And of course, some people say, well, I don't like to embrace certain rhythms, or what about winter that, naturally brings in depression? And that can be hard for people, I think, at times, because, there are people, but it's not really connected to the season really so much as it is not embracing the season or not embracing good things for you in the season. Or, for example, like in winter, it's because we're not getting the sunlight. And those people are much more affected by a reduction of sun that is going on in the winter months. There are actual physical cold sensitivities that go on, which make people dread certain times of year. But again, that's the time for them to say, okay, well, let's cozy up inside. Let's make these great spiced drinks and hot fluids and things like that do it. And there's many ways, again, that the seasons can still be embraced, but each one is bringing its natural properties that will benefit us, but we have to use them and embrace them in there. And then another thing that happens when we're riding with the seasons and the flows of everything is that it opens the heart. It opens the heart. We start to find gratitude for what we have and what's available and what is around. And when you open the heart, you also can't be in victim spaces. The more you're in that heart energy, the more that love is flowing through. The victim energy cannot reside in that vibration. So allowing ourselves that variety allows everything to open up from that perspective. And so what that does is it ends up releasing our victim patterns. So this is just another great way, I hope, will help you out in finding ways to release those victim energies and to release those patterns and to really start to enjoy the seasons, embrace them for what they have and what they can offer you, and really feel your heart opening up. I really encourage that, because the harder the times are, the more we need to open our heart energy. It feels like it's hard. It feels like we're climbing, Mount Everest or something. I don't know, but it feels really big to do, but it's actually not. It's actually not. It's so simple, and it's so easy, and it is so fulfilling when we do this. So get out there, take a look, and try it for yourself. Because in these days and times, no matter what is happening in the world, we can never go wrong with opening up that heart energy. We can never go wrong with flowing with the seasons, because that keeps us with God. That keeps us with divine source. And that holds us in connection with our soul self. So we can never, ever go wrong with that, really. And that is what is going to get us through things that are happening in our life and our world, and is going to allow us to deal with things. So I really hope that this helps you out, and I hope you have a great month coming up in October. I know I'm going to do what I can to enjoy things, even though I work so much. I'm just going to be doing it. I'm just, the day I'm filming this, I'm taking some time out. It's kind of a big day, like I said. It's the day that I came in and I was fully on my own, and Jesse left. And so I'm going to be doing my own reflection today, and I will see you guys next month. Take care.